Hi everyone, we are joined by Ajay Arora for this special video for City Hindus Network on, well, the new program we've started about health being so important to wealth. Now, so many of us in the city, we're stuck behind a desk like me, and I dare not show you the bulge around my blasted waist. And it's pure fat. There is no hidden six-pack there. So how do we get rid of it? And I thought it'd be really useful for City Hindus to hear from somebody who equally has a desk-bound job, but looks like us, at least, as I said to him before we went live on air, at least in color, if not in overweight physique. So how do you manage, how does somebody like that manage to stay fit and have a busy life, be desk-bound, and yet have the same genetic makeup? Because I've tried to use that excuse all along. It's the sort of Hindu physique. It's the Indian thing. My wife refuses to believe it. And especially when I see people like Ajay who are strong and fit and able to sit behind a desk, then I know it must be something I'm doing wrong. So Ajay, tell us a bit about what you do in terms of work, and then we'll go into the fitness, what it is we can do, especially given our community, diabetes, more susceptible to COVID. So tell me first about what you're doing work-wise.
So I'm a film producer and director. And right now, because of COVID, everything has become a virtual production. So since March, I've been at home working, very few days on set. So back when I was on set, it was very busy. You'd be out in the morning from 7 in the morning, you'd be out, you'd be shifting big boxes, you'd be running around set. And stress is actually a big fat burner, actually. So you had a lot of that going on. And then as soon as we all became super desk bound, something had to change. And I will admit, I did gain a bit of weight between March and May. And then my wife said I have to do something about that. So I've taken some steps to reduce my intake.
Before we get to those steps, are you allowed to name drop some of the celebrities you've worked with in the film industry?
Oh, right. Well, within our community, everyone would know Priyanka Chopra.
Yeah.
And I was the line producer on The Sky is Pink, which is out on Netflix, which is her last Bollywood film.
Yeah.
So I worked on that as a producer in the UK.
I remember when you called me up about that, and I just waited for you to say, Alpesh, we need a leading man. And that just sentence never came out of your mouth, you know, and there we go. So that movie, and that was shot in, well, part of it in London. So that's the bit you were heavily involved with.
Yeah, no, we shot that in London. We were in Hammersmith, Great Ormond Street. When you watch the film, you'll see there's a lot of London in it. So we shot all over the place.
And I remember you telling me, and hopefully it's not disclosing any secrets, even for short distances, because she's so famous, she couldn't just stroll across the bridge to get to a function. Tell me about that.
So that was complicated. We had to factor in everything from where we're shooting. It didn't just have to be a nice location. It also had to have the facilities to have her trailer parked very close to set. We had to have, like, if we were going to do any walking around scenes or any external shots, there had to be safety in mind. So no random passers-by could suddenly spring on us. So we had to clear a whole, like on the South Bank, we had to clear a lot of the South Bank to shoot what we needed to shoot there. So, yeah.
Right. Well, I can imagine, with the and how the stress would impact doing all of that on top of everything else. So let's turn to the fitness part, and I'm sure we'll get back to Priyanka Chopra as well, because I think it's fascinating this sort of world of logistics when you can't walk around freely. Fitness. So how do you do it? What should we be doing? I mean, you know, and please tell me there's some shortcut that I've missed for the last umpteen decades.
Well, so I think one thing that everyone does know is that the Indian diet isn't exactly I mean, there's a lot of wheat, there's a lot of grains, there's a lot of fat in our diet. So the steps that I've been taking is to reduce the number of meals I'm having per day, because I'm not burning as much as I used to. So whereas I used to have a reasonable breakfast, lunch, and a dinner, I'm now just doing the breakfast and the dinner, and having dinner earlier. So if your last meal of the day is around 6-7 p.m.,
Right.
you don't sleep till maybe 11 p.m.,
Yeah.
then at least you're not having a large meal and then just going to sleep.
Yeah.
You're still burning.
And there is research which backs this up. I read that the same meal consumed at 9 a.m. has a different physiological effect than the one had at 9 p.m. Now, I should also say, because it just reminded me, I don't want people to think, oh, he's just picked a slim bloke to interview. I mean, you do martial arts as well. You do a lot of physical activity, and then we'll come back to diet again. Tell me about the martial arts you do.
So it's Iaido is currently what I'm studying. So I did back in the day I was doing ninjutsu, which was it's hand to hand plus weapons, and nowadays I'm doing Iaido, which is just weapons based. So it's not as physical as the old stuff I used to do, and frankly, I don't think I could take that anymore. But yeah, it's some exercise, and that's something that I still do once a week for fun. I also tend to take my phone calls walking around the house. I don't have a Fitbit or anything silly like that, but I just, if I can get up from my desk, I'll get up from my desk. It's not something that I'm consciously doing to try and lose weight or something, but it's just because, you get stuck if you're just sitting behind the desk all day. So I take my phone calls walking around the house on a Bluetooth headset nowadays. That's how I'm doing it. You can go to the garden, do that while we have the weather.
Yeah. Let's go back to diet for a second. You mentioned timings. What about the content of the diet? Look, I'm vegetarian. How do we... presumably it's more protein. Any tips you've got in terms of what can make that easier for us?
So I'll take a chunk out of my wife's playbook for this one. See, she's actually been using this whole lockdown to test out a new... she's doing intermittent fasting, and she's staying away from carbohydrates. So something that she's discovered, which when I heard it for the first time, I was like, that doesn't sound right, but she's proof it works. So fat apparently isn't the enemy. So oils, butter, not a problem. Cheese, not a problem. But carbohydrates apparently is what she's managed to cut down on in her intermittent fast. She does 8 hours of an eating window per day, with the rest of it fasted. So all that means is you decide which 8 hours you're going to consume all your calories in, and just consume all your calories within those same 8 hours every day. And that works very well for her. And she's been having pretty much anything she wants, but no carbohydrates.
Which are the worst carbs? The ones, that you think are the biggest culprits?
So not a dietitian, but
of course, yeah.
From my wife's experience, simple carbs which are less complicated. So things that break down into sugars easily would be things like the bread and the rice.
Yeah.
Potatoes as well.
Yeah.
She's avoided all that, and she's lost a lot of weight during this.
Wow.
We had a lot of big holidays last year.
Yeah.
And a lot of food consumed over Christmas. So she's lost a lot of weight over this whole period.
Now, let's talk about go back to the martial arts and an activity. Obviously, if somebody can find something which gets them motivated. I mean, for me, it's become cycling. For you, am I right in thinking the martial arts you're involved in, they're Japanese martial arts?
Yep, it's Iaido. It's the way of it's basically a sword form. So it's not combative. It's not super aggressive. It's like it's kata based. So you're enacting all the striking and the blocking that the samurai had to learn. So that's what it's based upon.
What got you into that?
Oh, young age, I got into ninjutsu, which was a weapon. It was mostly weapons based at the time, but that was I got very interested in sword work back then. We're talking when I was about 15. And I went through Tiu Ryu's technique school. So my teacher was called Sensei Tiu Ryu. And I just went through this whole 4 or 5 years with him before gaining my second black belt.
Yeah.
And it was really fun. I just really enjoyed learning about all these different farming tools in Japan and Korea that became weapons. And seeing just how this stuff worked. And for me as well, there's a lot of movies coming out at the time that utilized all this stuff. And it was just nice to see a little bit of what I was learning on screen, and also then to point out and go, well, that's not right either, is it? So it was fun.
You casually and modestly dropped in double black belt.
Sure.
What percentage would you say is physical activity, which helps weight control and health, and what percentage is food?
Well, you can do a bit of both, but
yeah,
just being alive, you'll burn calories. So if you aren't moving a lot, then reduce your intake. If you are moving a lot, then you shouldn't reduce your intake, otherwise you'll end up with a deficit and you could get sick that way.
Yeah.
So it's just about striking a balance of moving enough or burning enough calories and then taking in enough calories.
See, I look at the data when it shows how long it takes to burn off. I mean, nobody eats Mars bars anymore, but a Kit Kat.
Yeah.
And you look at the damn thing, you think, well, it takes me 5 seconds to eat it, but it looks like it's going to take me 5 bloody hours to burn the damn thing off. It would be easier not to eat it. And so I'm thinking, obviously, physical activity is incredibly important, but the diet part. But we're sitting at a desk, so it becomes difficult. You've talked about removing carbohydrates. What are you going to replace the food? And you've talked about eating in a shorter window. Okay, what can we eat? Give me some good news. What we can eat.
I know no one wants to hear this, but salads are amazing.
How'd you make them interesting?
So, I mean, so obviously I appreciate.
And I should say, it's nice to hear from a guy with 2 black belts talk about salads, because we can be strong and macho and talk about salads.
Yeah, no, it's good. I love Caesar salad. Like, I really love Caesar salad. And what goes in mine, not everyone will go for it, but for me, it's cos lettuce. It's this obviously Caesar salad dressing, Parmesan, tomato, avocado, crispy bacon bits. Wait, whoa!
You're allowed that?
Yes, because it's fat, and I think I mentioned this. So fat really isn't the enemy, because you can use it. The thing about carbohydrates is if you don't use it, it gets stored as sugar. Fat, if you don't use it, but fat as you consume it is something that you can use straight away.
Right.
So that's something which I know that we've all been programmed to do this whole fat equals bad.
Yeah.
But it's not always the case.
Yeah. Well, I had a trainer who told me, he said it's 2 of the 3 macros. So if you have fat and protein, you're fine. And actually, he used to give me double cream with protein powder. Are you mad? But of course, it suppresses your appetite because the carbs aren't there, and so it doesn't turn into sugar and doesn't make the cravings and make you eat more. You just had this shake and you had a calorie deficit. Because that doesn't make you. So, okay, one thing, I'm not sure this is where I wanted this to go, is a whole load of people now starting to eat bacon at the end of this and thinking to themselves, great, that's a tick. That's the health Alpesh was talking about.
Just don't put
whilst
it in a
both.
sandwich.
So yeah, well, just remove the bread, have naked bacon sandwich, and you'll be fine. All right, so got salad. Anything else? Anything bulkier than salad that you're having?
You'd be surprised how bulky a salad is and what
Yeah,
that up with. The snack that I would recommend for everybody is popcorn,
popcorn,
because it's it's a satisfying thing to munch on,
yeah.
but it doesn't have super amount of calories, and it's mostly air, but it's satisfying to eat. It's better than a packet of crisps.
Yeah, well, I do the popcorn thing. I know Michael Bloomberg said he's become addicted to popcorn as a way of just controlling diet and just sort of something you feel like munching. Any other top tips on the health side?
So again, I am not a vegetarian, so for me, it's a lot of fish is a big part of the diet at the moment. So baking fish has become a pastime for us, me and my wife, and that's it's very easy, super easy, and really good for you. But yeah, I'm trying to think about all the meals, and unfortunately, it's a lot. For me, it's a lot of meat.
Yeah, no, I found this. It's just the world of so much easier. I think if you're if you're eating fish and chicken, for instance, then it's easier. I think the key thing is, like you said, it's the carbs and the timing. 6 p.m. No carbs during the day, a shorter window, and a bit of physical activity that you enjoy. Finding something you enjoy, whether it's a martial art or whatever else. Tell me, are there YouTube videos of you sort of smacking things around with your sword?
No, thankfully, I don't think so.
No? Oh, well, we'll look up Ajay Arora. What's the company name?
Nodachi, named after the great Japanese sword, in fact.
Of course.
Yeah.
I didn't know that, but we will make sure in the description for the video and in our social media, we put both the company name and a bit more detail and history about the martial arts as well. Anything else? Sorry, go ahead.
I will recommend one thing before we go. For those people who are totally not inclined for exercise and things, I recently got, for an old project of mine, I got hold of a VR headset. And there is a game on it, which everyone's heard of the Wii, right?
Yeah.
And that can get you moving.
Yeah.
I got playing a game called Beat Saber on the Oculus Quest, which is just a VR headset that you can just put on. You don't need a computer for it. And that really got me moving. And it was harder than some of the other. Once you get into it, it's gamification for working out, as far as I'm concerned.
Right.
And incredibly fun, incredibly addictive. So be careful on that front. But it will really get you moving. And for those people who don't like the idea of, they feel like I'm wasting time here on a treadmill or whatever it might be that they're doing. This is fantastic because you don't feel like time is moving. You're engaged in something, but you're definitely moving.
And you're breaking the sweat.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Oh, that's fascinating because that's not an approach I've come across so far. I mean, obviously the Wii I've heard of, but that's a really good, useful tip, actually. Ajay, sadly, we're going to have to leave it at that because time's got the better of us. We'll make sure on the descriptions and everything else we mention these things, so it'll make it easier for people to find it. And on behalf of City Hindus Network, thank you very much. And I really look forward to being on Priyanka Chopra's next movie. I'm sure it was an oversight last time. But yeah,
we'll work on that.
Yeah, I'll work out on my body as well. I think all these Bollywood stars, all the men are chiseled. All the women are chiseled as well. So I'll have to work on that. Thanks, Ajay. Thank you.
All right. Have a good one. Thank you.
Thank you.